darkness. All right, Tuesday, and I've seen that I'm competing with GitHub Universe, so I'm more or less expecting that this will be probably like a quiet round here. So let's see who's going to join. So what we're doing here is that a little bit ago, like, I don't know, 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks ago, I bought this domain. It's currently not set up yet, but I bought today-i-learned.dev. And what I thought that I could do is that I now bought this domain, I probably should do something with it. And what we did so far is that I set up a Next.js application. So what Next.js is one of these fairly new and popular React frameworks. It comes with all the latest and greatest technologies. It's based on React. It comes with a lot of nice goodies, and you can deploy it to this fairly new and hip platform that is called Vercel. And this is basically what we already did. So what we did over the last few weeks, so what I'm doing is every week on Tuesday night, that's probably not enough to hit Twitch affiliate status, but let's see how that is going to play out in the future. So what I did is that I built an application with Next.js, and I connected the whole thing to Firebase. So in Firebase, actually has a lot of offerings out there, from authentication to having this thing that is called Cloud Firestore. And what we currently already can do is that we can log in and log out with Firebase. So you see that this is gonna working nicely. You see my email address here already. And what you can already do is that you can then submit something to I learned this, and you can paste in a URL. You can submit this today I learned post, and then it's already reflected in here. And you can upvote and unvote certain things, and all these kind of things are already stored in Cloud Firestore, which you see here. So we have a bunch of different documents here, and today there's the question what we should do next. So I was thinking of either making the submit dialog a little bit nicer. So this one, do some adjustments there. So it could be a little bit of CSS magic going on. Or what I could also see as happening is setting up a CI/CD pipeline to kind of split these two databases that we currently have into two, because right now I'm always playing with production data, more or less, and that is probably nothing that we should do. Or we set up some user management, which I could also see happening here. So the question is what we should do. So maybe let's have a look at the login flow first. So what you can do is you can log in, and then we already get some data back from Firebase. So let's open up, let me just close some other thing here. Let's open up VS Code, and let's see how this was done initially. So what we have already is something that we call use user. Let me clean up some more things here on the left. What we have already is something that is called use user, and you can log in, and then it returns us a user object. And I think as a first step, what we could do is that we could have a look there and see what we can do with this user object. So let me just go in here and log out the user. So let's see what we have here. This now would mean that when I go in here and I open the console, and we go to console and we do the login logout flow, we should see some more information popping up in the JavaScript console, which we don't because we're on the production side here. Okay, so we should do the whole thing here. So let's go here, let's open the console. And here we see already the user object coming back, and this includes a display name and an email address Oh, look at this. It has a URL here. Nice. So let's see if we can adjust that and maybe add some. Yeah, I think that's pretty nice. So how could we deal with that? So we could add that login, set user cookie, get mapped user. What are we dealing with? Photo URL. So let's bring that one into. What do we have here? Do we have a user object here? Yeah, I think we can just go in here and we can grab photo URL. Photo URL. And can persist that in the session too. So what I assume now is that I can go to the header component, which currently holds the email address here. And I assume that what we can do here now is we can go in there and we can do source, user, and then photo URL, and then we should have already a image on top of the whole thing, which looks good. Nice, and then there's the question how we would style that. So let's just first, do we have some styles here? Yeah, so let's do class name, and then what is it? Styles avatar, and then we can drop the email address that I shouldn't probably show in there right away. So we can go to header CSS module here. Do we have two files here right now? Header. I think it's the same file, okay. And then we do avatar, and we can do width 2em, height 2em, and border radius 50%. And that is already not too bad. So how are these things usually done in platforms? So let's just have a look. It's like this, okay. Should the submit learning be in the middle maybe? So let's see if we can move some things around here. So we can move this one here. Yeah, and with that, what we could do is, why is that not properly aligning things? So let's find out. So we have something here, and this is currently nothing. And the last time I was just wondering how people do styling in a React-driven world, because I think it's a little bit hard, because CSS modules feel nice initially as an idea, but I think it feels like very hard to reuse styles. I think this is a tricky thing, but all right, we have already now our avatar image available, and probably what we should do as the next step is we should do. Can we still log out? Yeah, that looks good. When we now look in, sweet. And our logo should probably first of all link back to, let's do it like this, to home, so that we can navigate back and forth. And let's see what happens here. What we can do is probably we can just drop that. Let's see if that works. We discovered last week that there is, did that work? So okay, that we have to bring in these empty A tags instead of the link elements, which I think is extremely weird, but let's bring in an ARIA label here and call that properly, which is go home. Sweet. With this, we should now have a proper finger here and we can navigate back and forth. Nice. So with this, we now have already a little avatar, and I think that I will go for the hunt of a nice looking design again. So let's have a look at list maybe. Let's see what we got. I like these shadow things for sure. But that looks nice. Am I shifting plans here? I think I like the look and feel of that. And we could have yeah, I'm digging that. Okay, let's just grab the URL and then let's go into that direction. I think that's nice. So what we could do first of all is that I will add a new file here, which is like notes.txt, so that I don't lose this one on the way, which would be unfortunate. And then we should have a look at app, maybe? No. This is what it is. So what we have right now is that we have a container class and we have a site layout class. So we should probably go into the site layout and start tweaking things and building these things out. I think this looks beautiful. So when we now go, we are not using this anymore here. So we can clean some stuff up in the same one, which is nice. So let's clean some things up. Sweet. All right, and with this now, what we could do is that we could start moving this little thing to look more a little bit like this little thing, which I think would be very, very nice. So luckily we have already this site layout available. So let's have a look at how this was done. So we had a header component, which we probably should rename to a sidebar component now. And then we could also bring, yeah, I think this looks fairly clean. I think this is nice. Let's do that. So what we can do now is, so let's rename header first of all. I'm gonna go into header, and this will now not be header. Oops, it will be sidebar, and probably has to be exported differently too. So let's go with sidebar here too. And then we have to rename the file into sidebar. And when we now go to the site layout component, this is now sidebar. And here we go, we rename these. And then we should back to go where we actually were before, but now we can do some things around that. And the first thing probably is that in site layout, we might want to define some styles to do some gridding and stuff. So let me just bring in a new file that we call site layout module CSS. And we're gonna bring this one in from here in the site layout. So we go import styles from site layout module CSS, and then let's open that on the right side. So site layout module, and here we're just gonna have site layout, and here we're gonna do display grid first. This now would mean that we could go in here, we could do class name, and we do styles, and then site layout. And potentially we would now have already display grid somewhere applied on this whole thing here. So let's see how this goes. Site layout 1D, whatever. And I have a typo here, but this seems to work. So the cool thing about grid is that we can now go in and we can basically move things around. So when we look at this one, we see that the header is here. And what I usually would do now is that I would open up a grid explorer or something. CSS grid builder or something like that. Let's see, so what we're looking for is, let's have a look at the thing again. So what we're looking for is two sections. Let's go with this. So this is sidebar. And then we have this section, which is main. And I think with this, we're already good to go. What we're actually looking for is only, we can do it like this. Maybe like this even. And as grid rows, we're currently not, I think one row is probably enough. And if we want to have a gap, I don't care about a gap. So what we could now do is, here's a nice thing about grid, that we can, I think that's nice. So let's just copy the whole thing here and let's see what we can reuse from that one. I don't think we need the areas though. What we can do now is we can go like this. And just because we have the grid definitions here, so why are you complaining? Yeah, it's okay. So because we have, that should potentially already work. Sorta. So why do we have this gap here below? Let's see. What's up here? It's because now it's not the whole full height. Okay. So what we want to do here, there's a min-max thing in CSS. CSS grid. So we should probably set a max width for, this is what I'm looking for. So what we want to have to do, we want one fraction. So let's say maybe 15m or 1 alpha r, so that it's not growing too much. And I think that's even too much still. Is that doing something? No? What about that? That's breaking it completely. Does the order matter of these two? So let's see, does that make a difference? No, like not at all. All right, let's Google that. CSS grid, max width column. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so auto and 15m here. That looks good. Nice. And with this we could now go on and we could style the whole thing. But what I would like to do is first that I would like to set, let's see, so body is not 100%, so let's go to globals. We probably have something like body here. So HTML body, height 100%. Yeah, well, that worked great. And then height 100%. Let's go for min height. So now we have the body, that doesn't work. Here we go. What if we now turn that one off here? Oh, it's an ID. Okay. So let's do it like that. And with this, we should now... Oh, come on. So we have the body 100%, we have this one 100%, and this one... Do that too. Come on. No. Hey Matthias, how's life? So what happened here is that a while back is that I bought the domain, which is today-i-learned.dev, and now for a few weeks on Tuesday is what I'm doing is that I'm doing something with it. So the idea is that I'm building a platform that is using Next.js, where people can go and submit things that they learn in web development. And you see here that it currently looks a little bit bare bones and stuff, but what you can already do is you can log in, you can log out. That uses Firebase auth, and what you can do too is that you can submit some stuff already. So you can now go hello Matthias, and you can paste the URL and you can submit the whole thing, and it should be here, and people can upvote and downvote, and everything is persisted in Firebase already. So if you want to play around with that, it is also online. And today I just thought that what I'm trying to do is, with CSS, I'm just trying to make it look like that. And it takes me a little bit. So what I'm trying to do here now is to come up with a CSS grid, and then have the sidebar probably ready by the end of the day, and maybe some stuff in the middle. So I would say that this is the goal for today. I'm up for suggestions on how to approach the whole thing, but you see here that I already have I'm basically just building the CSS grid up here. And I think that probably this should be then min height 100 VH. Does that work to make it look? Yeah, here we go. So this, we already have at least a little grid, and I think with that we can start doing some things on the left side. Maybe I bring in some categories for the things that people learn. So, and now we can go into the sidebar. First of all, we can drop the box shadows that we have. So let's drop the box shadow. My girlfriend hates it too. And then we can go into global and we can define some colors, I think. Now we'll be very, very bold here. So let's go with white here, and the rest we do just the gray thing that we had. So when we now go back into our site layout, should I have some color classes or something? I'm still confused on how to do CSS with CSS modules, because I absolutely have no idea where I should place stuff, which is a little bit annoying, to be honest. I think we can now also drop this. And yeah, what we should do is have the main area, which comes from site layout. When we go to index, we have here main. And I think for now I'm just going to give the main element a background color, and then we call it day, because that's just the easiest way. So when we go main, we can do background color. Let's just give it red for now to see if that works. Cool. But this is not going over the whole area, so let's see what's going on. So we have here our grid, and we have our header component, and we have this component which has this stuff. Sweet, so let's get rid of this one. Where is that one coming from? Margin. What was that? 50? Yeah, let's look for 50 M. Here we go. It was this container thing that I brought in. Gotcha. So what I had in between is this container class to just keep things. Yeah, I feel you. Tailwind feels nice. I was never on the big util CSS approach, but I have to admit, after I played around with it a little bit, I think it is a nice experience. Plus you get quicker over time with Tailwind, which is nice. So should we just drop the container class for now? I think that That could be a reasonable approach. So when we do this, we should have a proper red thing here, and that looks good. And probably what we should just do is we should flip the order of the container and do it like that. And now we should have container, and I unticked some boxes here, and this looks good. Yeah, CSS modules basically just hash your CSS so that you don't have collisions and you don't have to work around the CSS cascade too much, and you don't have to worry. But in my experience, this just leads to the fact that things grow and grow and grow and grow, and at some point you just ship a bunch of a ton of CSS, which is not that great in my opinion. But I think as a first step, so we now have the red component here. So let's go back to here and let's make that a gray for now. So let's go with EEE. And now this already is a little bit closer to what we're trying to do. But I think we should go a little bit brighter. And here we go. I think that's already nice. So what we could now do is maybe bringing some categories for these kind of things so that I can have a list here of categories that are available. So let's see, you can log out, you can log in. Nice. So I'm gonna go to the sidebar, and the sidebar doesn't have any styles yet, because we should rename that one too here. So let's go with sidebar CSS. It should be sidebar module CSS. So let's rename that one. Here we go. Now this is sidebar module. Let's see what is in there. Sidebar module CSS. Should it still be the header element if it's in the sidebar? Theoretically, I think semantically, this should still be okay. So what I would like to do is we have bring in a sidebar class here, so sidebar, and we do display flags, and we can drop the header, but we can move that one up. And let's see what we got. Dun, dun, dun. So we have the sidebar, display flags. What do we need? Flags direction column. That looks good. And then what I would like to do is that we have this stuff here. What do I have here? We have a submit button. Okay, so let's sort this thing. So we have the go home thing, and then we have a bunch of action things. And then we have a button which is login. So let's call that class name styles actions. And here we do margin top auto. Well, that worked great because I didn't say flex direction column. Here we go. No. So let's see. Sidebar. Sidebar. Okay, let's see. Okay, we have to drop this container here. Now we have the sidebar. Where is this coming from? Container. Let's drop this one too. Here we go. Now we should have our, there we go. And I would like to have the submit thing. I would like to have that here. Yeah. And then we could have a look, how did they display this there? So there's a little thing like that. I think with a little bit of padding. We can have a logo, we have a submit learning, and we can have name and logout. So let's see if we can have user information, what the user information is when someone logs in. Is there a complete name? That would be cool if there would be a display name or something. So let's log out, let's log in. Let's see what we have. So we console. Do we have a name available from Firebase? Display name. Nice. So let's bring this one in. Display name. Display name. And then we can change this whole thing already to, let's go back to the sidebar. And then we could have a span here, which is user display name. Here we go. That is already not too bad. Still have to figure out the styling and stuff, but nice. All right, then let's bring in some more things here. I think what we should do probably is when someone submits something, it should have a category or something. So how will we do that? Is there something like React autocomplete? From the React.js core team? What? Is that core? Okay, so this is archive. What does it mean? What should I do use now? Can we have something like that? Accessible React autocomplete? Okay, so let's see, how does that look? Can we have something like tags, min length, display menu? Okay. That doesn't look too bad though. So let's have a look at the React example. Yeah. Yeah, I think that looks good. Should we go for that one? I'm not really sure, to be honest. Isn't this something that we could use out of the box for tag handling or something? React tag input. Let's see. Highly customizable, whatever. 20,000 downloads. How do we use that? Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, to be honest. What else do we got? 60,000 weekly downloads. That looks good. That is more what I... Yeah, just from the look of it, I'm already going for that one. So let's install that one. Let's see what we got here. So let's see. Oh, but we have to import CSS. Shouldn't these kind of things come with a component without importing CSS? I'm always annoyed when this happens. Oof. How do I add auto suggestions? I think I'm gonna go for abort mission, and I'm just gonna write something quickly myself here. I'm already annoyed by that. Okay, abort mission. I'm not going for tags import here. Cool, then let's go to the... Let's do that quickly ourselves. I'm already a little annoyed by that. So let's... Is it running? Yeah, okay. So here we have our form that theoretically already... Hey, Antipixelated, how's life? Good to see you. Everybody's watching GitHub Universe today. So what we have here is Hello World, and here we got this one. And that should do the thing. Yeah, you've seen I changed a little bit course already. So what I honestly... Well, I'm doing good. I'm just drinking a little Radler and doing some coding here, and I'm not sure... Yeah, I'm just figuring out what to do next. And I think that I'm gonna... Yeah, so basically I switched plans and I'm going for something like that here because it looks fancy. So, and what I have already is the grid, first of all. So that is that. And we now have a name display here. And I'm submitting some stuff here, and I'm thinking of implementing some tagging and maybe make this form a little nicer here now. And I think this is then the goal for today. So when we go to, where was it? Submit. We had our form here, and I think what we could do is we could bring in some form handler. This is how developers design things, right? This is how it goes. Let's just copy and paste dribble stuff. But what do you think about this one? I think this one looks fairly pretty, to be honest. So let's fix make that a little nicer here. So did we have some styles here already? No, I don't think we did. So we are not doing error handling for now, so let's drop that one. And the first thing that I would like to do is bring in tags. So for that, what I'm going to bring in is state. So we're going to import use state from React, and then we're going to do const tags, set tags, and then use state, and then empty array. And then we can style it later. And what I would like to do here is have another input. And This has the name tags, type text, required, and we don't do the ref thing here. Required. And here we now go with tags. And what I would like to do is when people press enter in this one, so we do on change. Or should we just have some checkboxes, to be honest, to just not make it complexer than it actually is? I think I'm going for checkboxes, to be honest, because it's just easier. Let's drop that. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And then let's define possible tags. Const possible tags. And what could we have here? We could have here web development, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, shell. What else could be in there? Yes, I think that looks good, I think. So now we can iterate over these. Let's drop that one and we do possible tags, map tag, and then we do input type. Nope, we do label, input type, checkbox, and then we do tag in the middle here. All right, so now we already have these. That looks good. And now we would have to check React form, because this is what we're using to handle with this stuff, how we should handle the different checkboxes. Which package did we use? We used... Wasn't it React form? React hook form, exactly. React hook form. Here we go. So let's grab that one. Is this something? Let's just look for checkbox. Nope. Is that all the documentation? Come on, examples. Checkbox. Checkbox minimum checked. Is there something else than that? No. Okay. So let's see. Okay, here we're ref register. Let's just copy that and let's see what comes back here. Okay, so we're gonna we have our thing here, and we're gonna do value, which is equal tag, and where's at least one coming from? Name tag, and at least one is a helper function that we can put on top here, and it uses get values. And with this, so what happens here is that here's a few checkboxes rendered. They all have the same, oh, we need the key too, so otherwise React will complain. So let's do key So also tag. I'm just reading the Twitch comments. Should I read something else? Matthias? And congratulations, Anti-Pixelated. Big tech update last week, huh? Groovy Grails. I've never used that one. All right, so for that one, we should now have that doing. And how do we log that now? So when we have a look now at the submit handler, so we have now this one. I'm not sure what you mean with the comments, Matthias. But let's see if we can submit something here now. So tags. And when we now submit this one, bottoms cannot get values of test, which means that this should probably be tags. So let's see what happens now. Bum, bum, bum. Ref, register, validate. How do they do that here? So test. Value, type checkbox. Looks like I have pretty much the same here. Let's do a refresh, let's see. Tags. Oh wow, that seemed to work. Let's see if that was persisted now. What did I just submit? We have upvoters here. That's cool. So now we can already render some tags here. Which each child and list should have a unique key prop. I think we fixed that, didn't we? Key, tag. Yeah. So when we now go back to the list, what we could do is we could go into the post list component. Just quick and dirty right now. Let's see, what do we got here? We've got doc ID, upvoters. Is that destructured somewhere? Here we go. Tags. When we now do tags, then we do tags, map, tag, span, tag. And otherwise, don't do anything. So when we go now back to the middle here, we see that we have some tags. I think it's time to wipe out the database for a little bit. So let's clean it up. Till posts. So now we can come back here. Submit learning. Today I learned tags. Nice. With this, what we could now do is that we could get these constants out of the submit page, and maybe we should have something like a config object or something, because I want to reuse these actually. So let's bring in tags and then export const possible tags. Is this syntax like that? Yeah, cool. So So now, because I want to reuse that in the sidebar actually. So what we can now do is we can do import from one up two up where are we here? Pages, yeah, one up config. Here we go. And that should still work as before. Let's maybe sort them first so that I don't have to do that in code. H. Config.js does not contain... I have to... Yeah, gotcha. I have to do it like this. And now what we can do in the sidebar is that we can render these out. So let's bring this one in. Container's gone by now, so we can import possible tags from config.js. Now what we can have here is possible tags, map tag, then li tag. Here we go. Yeah, I'm just thanks for pointing that out, Matthias. Yeah, so I'm just interacting with the Twitch chat here. It is running to, it's going to YouTube too though, just so that it's archived. And I'm talking to myself. This is how it goes here on a Tuesday night, you know. But I'm only following the Twitch comments. I'm not even sure if someone is watching on YouTube. Should we check that out? I don't know. Maybe there's a party going on there. So let's see. Jetzt live. Yep, I'm German. And I don't think anyone is hanging out here. I don't know. No, I don't think. There's a party going on there. Can I see that somewhere? I don't know. Well, it's just the three of us here. Cool. So what we now have is that we can have some things here. And I think that's already pretty nice. We can upvote, downvote, and we now have tags. So what should we do next? So the idea is that this could be something where people... Oh yeah, I think it's time. It's time for a quick wait. Here we go. What should we do next? Yeah, talking to yourself always helps. So for example, what I learned today, or what I've seen today is... I've read an article today from Remy Sharp, and that was very, very nice. What was it? It was a trick for shell scripts. Is it on the RSS feed? Advent of code, I'm not interested in this one. Oh, I don't find it. Was it in the links section? Does he have a links section? Web code. It was basically a little shell script, or a shell script that had $. was just the binary that literally was just a file name was $1, and that had as a result that you could copy and paste bash scripts or scripts from the internet, and you didn't have to remove the dollar anymore. That was so smart. All right, anti-pixelated. Then let's make the tags pretty. You have that in your shell? This little dollar binary? I will add that later today. I've never even thought about that. The $1 thing, the very important $1 thing. I think it's a cool thing. So, but I feel like we have to find a solution on how to do styles here. I think it's a little bit tricky. So should we go all in CSS modules, or should we have a tag component that really just has its only purpose is to apply some styles? I have no idea. So when we look at when we go here, exactly. Yeah. It was exactly this one. I think this is super smart. It's super nice. So, but how do we want to do the styling, folks? Now for real. I mean, should we have a tag component just to encapsulate some styles? I'm really a little bit lost. So when we go into the post list, so what I see us doing is either we make now here something like tag, and this comes with a little bit of styling, or we do global classes, because I feel actually good about writing normal CSS. First, what we should do is, yeah, now let's move forward with this one. Just give it a random class name for now. So what we can now do is we can go into global. And I think shame CSS starts here. And at some point we will clean this up, right? Alright, so the color is too bright, definitely. Here we go. How is it in the design? Is there something like a... Alright, so with this, yeah, I think I'm gonna drop the border. Where are we? Post lists. And this should probably be a proper list here. So let's add a list. And let's bring these one in. Well, that looks great, Stefan. Okay. So let's have a look what's going on. So we need LIs. Here we go. And then I'm gonna bring in a util class. These are the classes that I usually copy and paste everywhere. So list style, none. Oh yeah, good call. Thanks, Matthias. Here we go, and then I don't think I have post CSS, so I cannot do this like this. So let's do li display inline block. And I have, of course, to give the class. All right, then margin 0, padding 0. Yeah. Can we filter things in Firebase? I mean, it would be cool to just have these now links so that we can build up another route. So we can, let's just change the order here with, let's maybe not. So then we do I think I'm building my own little tailwind here. Well, that didn't work. What's up? Hue margin top. Oh, it's overridden. Yeah, shame CSS is I think I picked that up first from Harry Roberts, I think. Because before he dealt with performance and stuff, he did a lot of CSS architecture, and I think that's actually a nice thing when you're working on bigger projects. Sometimes you don't have the time to rewrite and rebuild everything, and you just have to get things done. And just put it into shame CSS, and then once a month you look at your shame CSS, and then you can clean up things later on, which I think is a nice approach. So with this, we now have some tags here. We can still upvote and downvote, and I think that maybe we should check out if we can build up some routes to filter these kind of things and make them actually so that we can continue and make something real here. So the way that I see that is when we go to the sidebar, sidebar, what would be cool would be that we would have something like latest here, and then we have the tags. And probably we should have to do latest and to do greatest, just because it rhymes. So with this, we could have latest, which is covered by timestamp, and we could have greatest, which is counted by upvotes, and then we could have by category, which I think would be nice. And for that, what we should have to do is figure out Firebase Firestore filter. Is that a thing? Okay. Where state in 3 arguments. It looks a little weird though, I have to say. Simple queries. Array contains. Yeah, nice. Let's go for that one. Okay, so what I would do is that I would bring in a new route now. What should that be? So what we have now is we have this route and we have submit, and we probably should have tags, and inside of tags it should probably what is the Next.js convention? Is it ID? Was it like that? Let's see. Next.js route. Oh, I'm not looking for the router, I'm looking for routing. Ah, it was squares, okay. So we'll rename this one. We have ID here. And then basically for now what we can do is we can copy and paste everything that we have here, and then let's find out how that could work. So when we now with this go to the sidebar, this could already be link. And then we place again the empty A tag, like Next wants us to do here. So we do A, and then we do this, and this should then href tags, and then we do tag here, like that, and then we should already have another route here, theoretically. So let's see, when we go here, bottoms, because all the imports are not valid anymore. Let's see. Tags HTML, it is loading stuff. Come on. Nice. So we have now routing in place. And I think now it's the question, we only have to adjust the post list component. So let's have a look at post list. Post list was basically using this hook here. So let's till post hook. Oh, now we're going 3 columns here. Oh. Let's move that one here. That's not even better. Oh my god, Stefan. All right, so let's have a look. So we have here the post list, and what we would like to do is let's just adjust how Firebase is, how it is fetching the data. So what we could do theoretically is, how did they use that the first time? We have db collection something something, and then there's a where clause. Okay, so we have the same thing. We have collection here. And then, wait, I'm confused with this. I cannot think when it's split like this. Let's close some things here. So we're here in the, let's open it on the left side. So what we do here is that we're using a custom hook, which is use till post. And basically everything it does, it receives the till post out of that. So in till posts, what we're using is React Firebase hooks. So now I assume that, where's all that stuff fetched? I think it's here. And I assume when we bring in a where clause here, and we do, what was the syntax on Firebase? It was where capital, okay, where tags, and then there was an array includes or something. Array contains, array contains, and then we do JavaScript, which should limit the whole thing, hopefully already. So when we now go back here, that didn't work like at all. So let's see, Firebase database, where is that used? Is that like used like at all? Didn't we clean up the last time? Aha, it is used here. But when we fetch the stuff, the where should actually be here. Because this is what is fetching the data. So let's give that another try. Yeah, nice. Seems to work. So when we now do this... Yeah, so that seems to work. So the question then is just how we get the ID inside of the route. So what we would do is we go first here, and for that I have to open up some Next.js documentation to see how that could work. How do I get this stuff? Injecting. Is it just injected here in the home component? Props. So this is the route component in Next. So let's just see. Maybe it just passed down already. That would be super nice. So when we do a refresh here and we open up the console. Okay, that's empty. And we have a unique prop thing, but that's a different topic. So theoretically, because we are currently in the page's tags ID route, I'm just figuring out how to get the actual ID. I mean, Next.js get route params. Here we go. Okay. So let's see. So let's bring this one in. Thanks, Antipixelated. So and then what we should, I guess, okay, that makes sense. So now we have here the ID, which we will bring in as tag ID. And then we could pass tag ID, tag ID. And now what we could do is we could go into our post list component, which now accepts tag ID. And now we pass it down to the hook. Oh yeah, we'll do when I'm going down here all the way. So let's go back to the ID. Ah yeah, good call. Use router. Here we go. And then we can drop this one. So let's save that one. So we made our way through to post list. Post list now accepts the tag ID. It's then using the custom hook use till posts, which has the tag ID. So what we want to do then here on the right side, use wait, I'm confused. Till posts value. Ah yeah, it was here. Okay. And then should we ternary time? Here we have tag ID. And in here we do if tag ID we do DP database with a where next to it, and otherwise we do just Firestore database, and then we can remove. Oh no, I'm making nonsense here. Okay, take a step back. Where we're coming from? So we were coming from here, tag ID, and use collection, Firebase, Firestore. Okay, const collection, and then if tag ID collection, and then we bring in the where, and here we have the tag ID, and otherwise just the collection. Now we can clean that up, add the comma, and maybe it will just work now. All right, let's see. So when we go back now here, we see that for HTML, we have 0. But when I go to CSS, we have 1. For HTML, we have 0. JavaScript, shell, and web development. And when we go to home, we have 2. Nice. I think that's super nice. So let's do super sweet. So, but we still have some errors here. So let's fix the sidebar error here. So let's go to sidebar. And now that error should be gone too. And we now have already some basic routing going. So CSS, HTML, nice. So what's next? So currently I don't think that we're persisting dates, so we could work on the date persistence to filter basically the latest and greatest. And I think then this is already a decent result for today. So what we now have is a Next.js application that is connected to Firebase. Firestore, you can log in, log out, and we can filter certain things. And can submit your own stuff. Bottoms. Can I read property tag ID of undefined? Where's that? Use till post. I think first of all I have a naming clash here, so let's go to post list. It's use till posts here, so let's just fix that. So that's the same naming. And then tag ID is not defined. Can I just do this as a default object? No. Oh, is that valid? So let's see if that works now. Sweet. So just my shell learning, and then HTTPS example, submit it. That doesn't work anymore. Let's see. Oh, because we don't have a tag. I had shell already. What am I missing? HTML is what I'm missing. So let's just submit some HTML learning first. HTML learning. Here we go. Sweet. And there's another, where's this one coming from? Check the render method of submit. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna do that now. You can never learn enough shell, you know? And we already discovered or talked about the dollar thing today. So I think that's a nifty trick. Nice. Okay, but what we should do next is probably we should go into submit and add a timestamp or something. So what we have here is data, and we should probably have something like created at what's the preferred date format usually? So let's figure that one out. Should we just go for timestamp? Because that's easy to parse. Yeah, I think let's go with that one. Created at plus new date. Now, when we go back to Firebase, we can refresh that one. And purge everything, because nothing has dates right now. All the shell learnings are gone now. Okay, but when I go here now and I go to submit a new shell learning, shell, what's your problem here? Cannot find, okay. Second try. When we now go back to Firebase, it should have already a date stored. Nice. So created edit works. So let's just create another one or two other ones. HTML learning. And then one last one, CSS learning. Submit this whole thing. Now we should have 3 entries here, which we did, but I have a very quick. Okay, now we have 3 timestamps, and now we could basically bring in another route. So like, okay, so let's clean that up. I have no idea. Okay, so we have coming on that. I'm gonna